last night. Fabulous. I was really pleasantly surprised, and I was reminded how it's been an awful long time since I had anything to do with The Hobbit. I don't actually even remember if I ever read it. I'm pretty sure I did, because I'm an avid reader, and that's the kind of thing I read. I know I never read Lord of the Rings before the movies, because I never got to those books, but I'm pretty sure I read The Hobbit at some point. Again, as I was watching the movie, I'm like, I don't remember if I read this or not. My memory of this story is very slim. I remember the cartoon movie. I remember that better than I remember if I read the book. It's like Narnia. I don't have any real memory of reading those books, but I have memory of watching that cartoon way back when, because I remember that white stag. Distinctly remember that white stag. Anyways, I enjoyed it. I know that they put things in it that weren't in the book to make it different, and there is a lot in that book anyways. So I know that there's things that weren't in the movie that were in the book, and vice versa. But that's always how it's going to be, because you can't make a movie shot for shot verbatim of a book. You physically can't do it, because scripts are written differently than books are written. When you write a book, you're very descriptive of how things are supposed to look and sound, even smell, because you have to create this world for the reader. The reader has to be able to visualize this. When you're writing a script, you want to leave as little detail visually as you can. You don't want a lot of detail, because that's up to the director for him to make his artistic decisions based on unless something is crucial to the plot, you don't want to specify things. You don't want to specify where the lighting is coming from unless it is crucial to the plot or has some particular role. Like unless the light has to come from a certain angle for them to look in this particular direction to find something that is important to the story. So scripts are a lot looser. There's a lot of detail that is pulled out of a script. Pretty much all you get for a script is when the scene starts, who's in it, excuse me, dying, root beer, save me. What was I talking about? Scripts, yes. Key elements. So they have, what did I say? They have, if it's day or night, inside or outside, who's in the scene, roughly the time frame of when it's supposed to take place, and what they say. You don't add, there's no emotion added to the lines, and that's, again, it's important, because you gotta leave that up to interpretation for the actors, and there's a lot going on. So there's no real possible way for a book to translate perfectly into a script. It just can't happen. Especially a fantasy book. There's so much going on in a fantasy book that you can't translate it. So that's why even though there are things that I miss in certain movies that are based off of books, I let it go. As long as it stays true to the story and it's close enough that it's got to be close enough that it's recognizable, but still have enough differences that if you've read the books, or if you're like me and you read your books over and over again, you don't get bored. So now that it's been brought to my attention that I don't really remember this story very well, I gotta find my copy of Hobbit, if I have it still, if I ever had it. I think it was my brother's. And reread that. I gotta reread that shit. Look, I've been waiting a long time for this book, for this movie to come out. I love Tolkien. It's not my favorite author. Mercedes Lackey is my favorite author. I've read a fair portion of her books. She has a lot of books out, and I've been systematically since I was about, 13, 14, working my way through her books. So I've been at it for around 10 years now, working through her books. I don't just buy her books, and to the exclusion of others, which is why it's taking me 10 years to read all of her books, because I read other books, because otherwise I get bored, but I reread my books. I do. I can't help myself. I love these I'm so invested emotionally in these characters that I have to go back and visit them. Especially when crap goes down in this world, and I can't handle it. My brain just can't. I have to go back and visit my old friends. I have to, in case of Mercedes, I have to go back to Valdemar and visit with the Hawk brothers and the Heralds, or her Elemental series, and with the Water Masters and the Fire Masters. I've got to go back to those worlds in order to get my brain to function again. So finding a book that holds my interest is hard, and now that I've been reminded, I'm repeating myself, that I don't remember The Hobbit, I'm going to have to go through and reread it and refresh my little brain that is completely full of things like Howl's Moving Castle, which is a very good book. The book and the movie they're so close. It's ridiculous how close Miyazaki got. Like, yeah, there's things that he obviously changed, there's things he obviously needed to change for it to visually flow better, but oh my god, they're so close. The characters are so spot on. It's amazing. I just love things like that. I love to see my favorite characters from a book be brought to life into film. Blows my mind. Love it. And so I want to know, what was your guys'? How do you guys feel about The Hobbit? For those of you who have seen it, for those of you who haven't seen it yet, see it, watch it, observe it. Tell me what you think. I want to know. Make a video response and put your comments below in the doobly-doo. Or what other books have you read that have been made into movies that you absolutely adore or didn't quite make the mark? Just let me know. And I will see you all next week for another round of Shoe Bandit Sundays, and I hope those of you who celebrate it have a very Merry Christmas. Those of you who don't, I hope you had a great Hanukkah. And those who didn't, I hope that your Kwanzaa is going to be just as awesome. And Happy New Year. But I will see you guys before the new year, so onward to 2013! Kisses! Mwah! Love you guys.